Welcome to Static Bursts, the info-packed 3-minute podcast from StaticWorx, designed for a quick listen.
I'm your host, Dave Long, founder and president of StaticWorx.
Dave, how do you install ESD flooring in a 24/7 work environment without interrupting business operations?
If the job needs to be done in an occupied space that's operational, now you're looking at logistics like, okay, how do we keep this operation running while we're installing the floor? What kind of chemicals are we going to use? So in other words, are we going to be using adhesives? Are we going to be using coatings that might have an odor? Are we going to be using materials that might have cure time? Let's take an example like a call center for a police dispatch operation. And we've done a lot of these kinds of jobs. So you've got a 800 square foot small town 911 call center. They've got 3 dispatchers working in the room, and they need to be able to get in and out of the room. So right away, you've got to be thinking about how am I going to install this floor without interrupting their important work, which I think we would all agree is very important. But how are we going to give these people access to get out of the room if they need to use the bathroom, if the shift ends and they need to get home from work, if a new person needs to come in, if they need to have a discussion with another person? So we need to be looking at the installation, not just from the perspective of do we have the right material, but do we have the right installation method? Because if we can't present them with a solution that allows them entry and egress without causing a problem, then they're not going to be able to do their job. So when I look at a call center application, the first thing I look at is, can I do the job without an adhesive?
So a floating floor that requires no adhesive would be a great solution for installing in an occupied space with operations that cannot tolerate any downtime, right?
So definitely in the 24/7 operation, absolutely. If you're going to start removing old flooring or preparing the surface to take on some kind of an adhesive that it'll bond to, that's not going to work. So in those situations, our usual go-to solution is to give the customer a floor that they can put together in pieces where there's never any downtime waiting for adhesives to dry, dealing with the smell of any kind of chemicals that might be used for floor prep, that literally would allow in a dispatcher operation for someone to get in their chair and slide over 6 feet, which might require them to plug into a different console, or maybe they've got a headset that will allow them to move that far, lift up their console, sneak some carpet tiles underneath the console, drop the console back down, and allow that person to resume their position at their station. We hope you learned something today. If you have questions about the podcast, give us a call at 617-923-2000. Thanks for listening.